There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
It's too stressful, and frankly, I do not have the nerve.
Our rights are on the line, folks.
The right to buy Cosby sweaters?
As Snow White, Rachel Zegler had imagined her role as a climactic triumph, an opportunity to shine beneath the famous Disney banner, and became part of the illustrious tradition of live-action heroines who had established themselves as legendary figures in film. She embraced the role as soon as she was cast in the 2025 adaptation. Endeavor full of vitality and hope, prepare to play a fairy tale figure that previously charmed audiences in the 1937, a masterwork of animation.
Minecraft in the United States in one weekend made more money than Snow White has made globally after 3 weekends.
She frequently spoke in comments regarding her desire to give Snow White a modern viewpoint. She promoted contemporary concepts of emphasizing that a modern princess should stand for more than independence and self-determination. Just a damsel in distress at first, the strategy looked novel and interesting to Disney officials. Embrace the idea that a new audience may value a more courageous Snow White who took charge of her own fate. But tensions were building behind the scenes.
Rachel Zegler then inexplicably continued to post herself in an empty theater for her own movie. She's literally the only person there. Meanwhile, the experience at Minecraft goes something like this.
The film's production schedule changed several times. Originally scheduled for release in 2024, it was moved to 2025 due to issues brought on by numerous reshoots. Different creative leads came and left, each with a Greta Gerwig contributed to the screenplay by trying to weave together her distinct ideas about how the story should be told, combining traditional fairy tale themes with more realistic, contemporary narrative.
The future of Hollywood is being battled out right now in theaters as 2 live-action remakes from the biggest studios in Hollywood go head-to-head.
The pressure from powerful board members and Disney executives, such as CEO Bob Iger, weighed hard on the production. They had high expectations because Snow White was one of the most beloved properties in the Disney canon at first. Rachel Zegler didn't think there was anything to be concerned about. Yes, the screenplay changed frequently, and yes, although the production environment could get chaotic at times, big Hollywood blockbusters typically survived such. She handled the turmoil with grace.
Warner Brothers' Minecraft movie versus Disney's Snow White, which in theory should be quite a battle, but it's not even a fair fight.
Regarding the transformations as a component of the creative process, rumors of a potential clash then surfaced. With her co-star Galadoo, who played the villainous queen, despite allegations that she appeared friendly, revealed that the two were at odds after Rachel Zegler's candid criticism of the original 1937 movie had sparked backlash from ardent admirers, many of whom charged her with ignoring the beloved legacy of the classic.
You know what's interesting about all this is that the only person waiting in line to see Snow White was Rachel Zegler.
That animosity appeared to permeate the set, leading to a string of tense moments that threatened to go wrong on camera. Insiders claim that these arguments reached their zenith during the filming of the climactic climax in a gloomy fortress, Snow White and her 7 friends face the evil queen. The scene demonstrated Rachel is extremely challenging to photograph, taking multiple takes to handle visual continuity and tempo. Zegler had strong views regarding the ideal portrayal of the heroine.
And everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Morally resolute and resilient, Gal Gadot investigated a more sinister, improvised method of handling the antagonist's ferocity for each performance. Clashed, occasionally erupting into an unplanned conflict of wills that eclipsed the meticulously planned dialogue. The production crew found it difficult to handle, frequently having to restart after every unsuccessful effort. On one especially, an eventful day.
Rachel Zegler then inexplicably continued to post herself in an empty theater for her own movie. She's literally the only person there. And do you not understand how humiliating this is?
According to reports, it took more than 24 takes to complete a Disney executives, concerned about bad press, attempted to keep the specifics of the scenario a secret, kept under wraps, but speculation surfaced that the two leads' conflict was. Rachel Zegler was occasionally portrayed as being overly enthusiastic and fixed on a vision that went beyond simple artistic differences. Nobody else gave a complete account.
Meanwhile, the experience at Minecraft goes something like this.
Gal Gadot, a Hollywood titan, was reportedly frustrated by the seemingly never-ending flow of rewrites. And the escalating drama the set environment got so tense that the actors and crew started to distance themselves from. Both leaders avoided being caught in the crossfire by concentrating only on their own responsibilities, while Disney faced a more significant problem.
And the cops had to escort the rowdy teenagers out. The Minecraft movie is doing something magical. It's creating a live audience reaction event.
The film's general direction, the numerous reshoots, and conflicting video from narrative overhauls made it challenging to piece together a cohesive plot. Line plot points were constantly changing. In one version, Snow White's arc focused on empathy and self-discovery, peasants and forest animals, but in a subsequent version, the evil queen's intentions were given more attention.
Encouraging to see a movie that decided to do the opposite of Snow White, which is, according to all available reviews, including from the people that I trust the very most on this platform.
The executives were worried about the ballooning, and the general tone changed from one of fun adventure to a somber cautionary parable. Some questioned if the project should be scrapped altogether or drastically revised due to the expense and the frequent changes. Revealed in the late summer of 2024 that the movie's scheduled UK premiere would be a high-profile occasion that was originally intended to increase global excitement, it had been unexpectedly canceled.
It is non-political. The Minecraft movie does not try to beat you and box you about the ears with the message.
Disney representatives gave evasive justifications, pointing to schedule issues and a wish to focus on final details. The majority of onlookers, however, connected the cancellation to the swirling controversy and conjectured that the studio was afraid of a flurry of difficult questions at press conferences. Rachel Zegler was quite disappointed because he had been looking forward to the red carpet experience.
It is just silly fun for kids, which is what a kids movie should be.
When they saw previews of the final product, she had hoped that instead, the disputes intensified and the hostility would fade. Reported on the backroom disputes between Zegler and GDAU, as well as the director and important producers, there had been so many iterations of the third act that it was unclear which version would be included in the final cut.
Whereas the Snow White model is the message ad infinitum, shoved directly up your ass, and most importantly, in the most insufferable possible way, like screamed at you.
Increasing the stress, many Disney enthusiasts were incensed at the plot's possible departure from the beloved fairy tale essence. The film was criticized by critics as a naive attempt to forcefully modernize a classic, undermining its principles of goodness and purity that had made Snow White famous. But the biggest shock came soon after.
And so let's see how they fared against each other. The Minecraft movie breaks box office record with 300 million.
Disney is dealing with a whirlpool of negative. Surprise revealed to the media that it was beginning the planning process for a brand new Snow White movie. According to reports, Jenna Ortega, a rising talent, was cast in the titular role. There was no significant press conference, but a hush fell over the industry as no one knew about the story that spread through Hollywood circles and onto social media. Justification for Disney's decision to start a new adaptation while Rachel Zegler's 2025 project was still in the dark.
$1 billion global opening, while woke Snow White slips again.
Were they attempting to change course because they had lost faith in the current version? Rachel Zegler's response to the controversies was to start over with a completely new creative team. Insiders claim that she was taken by surprise by the sudden and dramatic statement and felt personally deceived. According to reports, She was informed about the plan in the same manner as fans by the studio she had previously trusted to back her vision. Did using cryptic statements from anonymous Disney representatives and internet conjecture for someone who had worked so hard to ensure the success of the 2025 Snow White. So, hearing this news seemed like a devastating blow according to some witnesses. She sobbed when she learned that Jenna Ortega was being courted, if not already signed, for a different version of the narrative. The thing that most upset Zegler was the abrupt change in perception. She had anticipated that any criticism of the initiative would only be temporary. Now that Disney appears to be hedging its bets on another, a polished final product and effective marketing could overcome version with Jenna Ortega. The studio seems to have lost faith in the original adaptation, enough to unquestionably support it.
In theory, Snow White should as well. Snow White's the movie that made Disney, the studio. They should have been more cautious and careful with their own IP.
Word got out that the internal executives wanted a fresh start away from the growing scandals. A new cast anew, script, and a strategy that is more firmly rooted in the cherished customs that fans may find more acceptable. The tension behind closed doors grew tenfold, according to some who did not believe that Bob Iger and other high-ranking officials were in trying to think out how to salvage or adapt the 2025 film without running the risk of more backlash is damage control mode. Some favored a low-key theatrical debut with little hoopla, followed by a future Disney Plus membership. Others recommended that Disney Plus be completely omitted from the movie in order to prevent confusing or overpowering viewers. Following the start of the Jenna Ortega project, there were circulating speculations that Disney's own. No one was more uneasy about the streaming service than Rachel herself, who had worked on the Zegler version. Zegler thought that her career was in grave danger because her Snow White would not be on Disney Plus. Site, after all, served as Disney's headquarters for exhibiting its intellectual property, including both new and classic works.
Disney's Snow White, faithfully adapted, would have made $1 billion. Everyone knows this.
An unwillingness to put her movie there, or even a lengthy hold-up suggested that the studio wanted to keep it out of the public eye. Perhaps in an effort to prevent additional harm to the Disney brand, the internet responses added to her anguish. Numerous admirers and commentators analyzed each of her public remarks, highlighting instances in which her remarks appeared contemptuous or dismissive of the 1937 original. Memes went viral implying that she had ruined Disney's live-action Snow White on their own. It was an unreasonable accusation, but under the spotlight of social media coverage frequently overshadowed the subtleties of Zegler and Gallardo's conflict. Although still pertinent, the more disastrous effects of Disney's shift to Jenna Ortega took precedence. Industry watchers contended that the studio had become weary of Rachel Zegler's strong views and that they had jeopardized the movie. The drama made the decision to go for a more secure and cohesive presence in Ortega, but being awakened and having lately gained popularity in a number of previous great roles, the Minecraft movie was not marred by controversy. Others said that Disney management were held accountable since they failed to give the adaptation a clear, consistent direction, claimed that the superiors had mismanaged the creative process, resulting in a concept that was so illogical that no amount of. In the face of these conflicting inquiries, reshoots could completely rescue a previously recorded scene once. Because of continuity problems and the near impossibility of integrating, what was deemed crucial was eliminated from the final cut. Material that was res hot because Rachel Zegler believed the sequence displayed her most poignant work, which would have strengthened her depiction of Snow White as a morally upright heroine, but from the perspective of the new vision. That Disney was creating the scene now appeared to clash with the tone and tempo of the finished version. Conspiratorially implied that the scene was trimmed only to satisfy administrative worries about excessive attention being positioned on the evil queen's ethically dubious viewpoint, or that the video had been altered by various filmmakers during reshoots. Too fragmented to utilize.
So the film received a low score on Rotten Tomatoes, but 87% fan approval. The rankings were very similar to Snow White, which received a 40% critic score, 73% audience ranking. Yeah, right.
For whatever reason, Rachel Zegler's sense of disappointment was heightened by the removal. She witnessed peace after. A portion of her performance faded away due to internal conflicts and being overshadowed at a larger. Her annoyance escalated when rumors surfaced that Jenna Ortega was working on another Snow White project. Breaking point in a private meeting with some of the production leaders, although the specifics are still unclear. According to witnesses, she specifically requested whether Disney would clarify what the studio intended to do with the movie. The executive's intention was to bury it, relegating it to a pathetic theatrical debut or possibly indefinite storage. These sources said that Rachel's responses were evasive and noncommittal. Rumors quickly circulated that, despite the fact that the most of the filming had already been finished, Zegler had suffered an emotional breakdown on site.
However, the Minecraft movie was not plagued by controversy of being woke.
According to some reports, she left right away after learning that Disney might use new advertising materials that reduced her appearance to emphasize the villainous queen, or supporting cast members. Another allegation said that she was also dissatisfied with the box office results. How could it be that the public was already losing interest in the project? Potentially recover the enormous investment Disney made, and would she be held accountable if it failed, making things more difficult? Furthermore, regardless of the result, Gal Gadot's star power stayed mostly unaffected. The disparity in their professional. Zegler's nervousness was only increased by standing, while the Jenna Ortega news kept emerging in the public arena. Despite Disney's efforts to minimize official pronouncements, Hollywood insiders continued to leak bits and pieces. Some data suggesting that the Ortega Le Snow White would color more accurately to the 1937 original, with just minor modifications to fit contemporary ideals.
Rachel Zegler, who was cast in the title role, but some diehard fans were upset that Zegler, who identifies as Colombian American, was cast to portray the Disney princess.
Ironically, this was exactly what a number of Zegler version detractors desired. They contended that the core of Snow White's warmth and generosity were not necessarily a drastic change from who she was before. Consequently, anticipation for the possible Ortega project surged before it had a confirmed release date or a production schedule. Spectators who were dissatisfied with Zegler's comments or the purported story revisions placed their bets on. For Rachel Zegler, Disney's decision to provide them with a version that more closely resembled their childhood memories felt like a reprimand. It seemed as though the business she had previously supported was informing her that her modern spin was no longer legitimate, which added to the sadness that Disney might not promote her movie as much as its routine marketing tool. She told close pals that she was afraid people wouldn't even see the idea because she had anticipated that it may be shortened or overshadowed by unfavorable press.